In today's edition of Panthers News Today, Sam Darnold already named the starter after the bye week for the Seahawks game. Matt Rhule makes his return to coaching, and a celebrity special guest at the Panthers game that you may not have known was there. Let's get into it. Panthers Nation, what up, dude? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, bringing you Panthers content, NFL content, all of the above, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to see more videos like this, film breakdowns that I do every week, live streams and reactions to the team and the game, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell icon down below. You get a notification every time I drop a video when I do things like this, and you'll stay in the loop because anytime there's breaking news, there's a lot of news that happens to be coming out of Charlotte and Main Street. I'm on top of it, and I will be reporting, talking about it, and analyzing it. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you do that. And also, give the video a thumbs up if you don't mind. I really appreciate that. It helps me out in the algorithm and gets this thing amplified to more Panthers fans that we can all come together, talk about things, and talk about the issues at hand. So unless you've been living under a rock, you saw the game yesterday against the Denver Broncos where the Panthers were victorious. It was Sam Darnold's first start of the season after being on injured reserve and being on the bench as well for a high ankle sprain. Sam Darnold went 11 for 19, 164 yards, one passing touchdown, and one rushing touchdown that almost was a fumble, but he ended up rolling into the end zone and Gator rolled into that thing. So Sam Darnold had a fairly clean game. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't overly impressive by any means. They were very risk averse when it came to him throwing, but you couldn't have drawn up a perfect game flow for Sam Darnold. You had to lead the whole game. You handed the ball off over 40 times. If you run the ball over 40 times, you either very successful and you probably have a lead, and that's exactly what was going. We really took the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands as much as possible. But he did make some throws, very quality throws to DJ Moore. Now, there wasn't a ton to be had, obviously just 11 completions, and I'll put up the pass chart here. Only about 9 of those were beyond 10 yards. The rest were just at the line of scrimmage on screens and checkdowns and stuff like that. But the key word was clean, because we know with this defense, the way our offensive line is playing, the way we've been able to run the ball lately, there's not really a ton that the quarterback needs to do. Ever so often, the game isn't always perfect, and you have to throw. But this is one of those scenarios where we always had to lead. We were leaning on the defense and the running game, and Sam really just had to protect the ball, make some throws ever so often when he got the opportunity, and that's exactly what he did. Head coach Steve Wilks quickly named Sam Darnold as the starter for the Seattle game, even beyond the bye week. This lets me know that P.J. Walker is on the up and up and probably going to recover still and not really ready yet. We'll see what happens after the bye week with that extra week of rest. But Sam Darnold wanted to play clean. He played clean. He did what he needed to do. I know Steve Wilks said he wanted to get a look at Sam Darnold at some point this year. So this is part of the plan. Wilks declared, he was asked why he named Sam the starter so early, and he said that typically he's made these decisions up in his mind already. He just has to tell the media or the next opponent right away just to have a little bit of gamesmanship so you understand it there. But like I said, the game flow couldn't have gone any better, and now we have victories with 3 different quarterbacks on this team. As crazy as the year has been, it just shows that we may just be a quarterback and maybe a player or two there and a competent offensive coordinator away from being able to really compete, because we're in a lot of these games. The Panthers, yes, they're 4-8, but 2 bogus calls, one against the Browns and a helmet penalty against the Falcons, could easily have this team at 500 and first place in the division. But you can what if all day. Nevertheless, this is the situation that we have. Sam Darnold may not be the answer for the future. He's definitely not, in my opinion. But for right now, he seemed to do what he needed to do, and that's all you can ask for in a game like this. Like I said, 11 for 20, 11 for 19. You're not asking him to do a ton, but he did what was needed to do. We got the victory. You guys let me know down below in the comments how you felt about Sam's performance. Were you impressed? Are you hopeful for Sam going forward? Are you falling for the fool's gold again? Or are you just kind of taking it 1 week at a time like me? Let me know down below in the comments how you feel. And real quick, I just wanted to take a time just right something very important, obviously, with the holiday season. It's a season of giving. I know times are hard out here. So the Bradley Bozeman and Nikki Bozeman Foundation, you know Bradley Bozeman, our center, they're partnering up with the C3 Panthers podcast with my friends Cody and Tony. You guys know how they do. I've collabed with them before. They're doing an effort. They're taking donations. I'll put the link down below, but it helps somebody less fortunate this time of season. If you have it, you may not be as fortunate as others, but if you are fortunate enough, consider giving something down below. Help the next man, you know what I'm saying? It's the holiday season. It really means something, you know what I'm saying? Bradley Bozeman, he's really a pillar of the community already. He's only been here less than 1 season, but what they've done in the community is amazing, and everything that they represent, man, you can't help but root for these guys and just like the type of man and the person that him and his wife are as a couple and just as human beings in general, because it's a little bit deeper than football sometimes, man. And giving back to the community is everything. We know some of the initiatives that Cam Newton had in the past, he's not around anymore. You know, Santa Cam is not here anymore. Giving out turkeys not here anymore. So let's support another player's foundation that wants to help the local community. Nikki and Bradley Bozeman Foundation. I'll put the link down below for you guys to donate anything that you may want to. The next topic to discuss is reports that came out pregame is that steam and buzz is increasing of Steve Wilks slowly but surely having a solid chance to really retain the job. We know interim coaches don't always have a really big leg up when it comes to being able to get the permanent job. However, Steve Wilks getting 13 game slate and the way that the success of the team has been thus far and the clear and obvious uptick in play and intensity is hard to deny. You know what I'm saying? With Matt Rhule, he was a dead man walking. I pretty much would have expected or hoped they had got rid of him in the offseason. That way you don't do the lame duck coaching thing. Nevertheless, this is a situation that we're in. We don't have too much control over those type of things, but this is the situation that we have. And with the situation, which was somewhat of a mess, especially when it comes to the quarterback position, Steve Wilks has done a great job of leaning into the personnel, not trying to do too much outside of what we are, lean on the running game, not let the quarterback make too many mistakes, lean on this defense as well, and he's been able to put together some wins. Now, Steve Wilks has somehow pulled the NFC South Championship out of this season miraculously, no matter what record we end up having. He'll not only be in the running for becoming a permanent head coach, he'll be in the running, in my opinion, as coach of the year, because having a 13-game slate and pulling out a division out your behind after this mess of a year and quiet as kept, not making this quarterback controversy as big as it could be, because having these quarterbacks week-to-week basis, he's been clear, concise, and direct with the team and the media, so there's not really much to build a story off of. The way Matt Rhule kind of handled it and juggled it in the preseason and training camp, it was a topic of every day, every question. Steve Wilks just comes to the podium, answers it straight up if he has the information that he needs when it comes to injury and health, and he's moved on. And the media hasn't really been able to pick and choose and cherry pick and create any kind of extra drama than it needs to be, regardless of Baker Mayfield being inactive or the third string quarterback or whatever it is. Not to mention, last week, Steve Wilks called out the stars. He challenged them. He said the stars need to play like stars. And I told you guys that it was likely DJ Moore, Taylor Moton, CJ Henderson, other guys on the other side of the ball that were high draft picks like J.C. Horn as well. And they all responded. Whenever you can get a coach to call out players like that to their face and to the media, and they actually respond to that type of treatment, that says something. That means that he has their ear. He has their attention. He's really getting the best out of them. And with what we have in the situation that he was able to take over, he's done a great job. We'll see how many more wins he may need down the stretch. We haven't won back-to-back games in a minute. We haven't won a road game in a minute. But being able to win at home and being undefeated at home is huge, because Matt Rhule had a 9-game losing streak at home coming into the season, and Steve Wilks has completely turned that around. We started winning consecutive games at home, which is always good for fan morale, because if you're spending your time out there on a Sunday, no matter how nice the weather is and no matter if it's a holiday week or not, you want to leave with the win, no matter what the situation is, and Steve Wilks has done the best to maximize what it is. So shout out to him. You guys let me know down below in the comments if you think Steve Wilks has done enough to secure the permanent head coaching position and remove the interim tag. I personally think it may be too early to do that anyway. I like his chances of doing it, but I don't think it would be David Tepper's best interest to go ahead and rip that tag off right now. Leave it competitive, see what's out there. And it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm pro Steve Wilks, but I still would not rip that interim tag off just yet. But I want to know how you guys feel about that. Speaking of the home game and putting on a good product and protecting the home turf, when you start to win games and have success, the stars are going to come out. We remember a couple years ago, the NFC title game, that Future and Jeezy were there on the field taking pictures with Cam Newton. That's the type of energy that happens when you start having success. You don't just get Luke Bryan every other week or those guys like that. No offense if you're a fan of those guys, but these aren't. It is what it is. They're going to come and go regardless, because they're probably going to be performing 9 times out of 10 at halftime. But we had a celebrity guest appearance. Me personally, I'm a fan now of this beautiful young lady, Miss Fantasia, Miss America. Not America, but American Idol, former contestant Fantasia was in the building. First of all, I didn't know Fantasia was a football fan. Second, I didn't know she was a Carolina fan. Third, I didn't know she was a Carolina girl. They caught her walking away from the game, and She said you better recognize, man. She's a Carolina girl. What you expect her to recognize for? She's rooting for the home team. So I was just happy and excited to see somebody famous and pretty relevant. You know what I'm saying? Because Fantasia, she has a little bit of star power. I mean, American Idol, she has a very recognizable face, and for her to pop up out this game is very random. But that's the type of stuff that happens when you have good things going. People want to get behind those type of things, and they're willing to spend their Sundays, those 3.5 hours on Sunday to come out to the game. And shout out to Fantasia, because we know the hit record she got, When I See You, that everybody loves. But I was just surprised to see, and I'm still kind of dumbfounded that she's actually a Panthers fan. I mean, we'll get some more famous guys coming to these games, and not just guys, but women in general as well, to come to these games, and it'll be a little more hype and excitement. But this is what happens when you start winning at home. It makes it worthwhile. So I'm excited about this. You guys may not be as excited about me, but it's just something I thought I'd note. The next big topic we have to discuss as well is former head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Matt Rhule, has quickly bounced back and become the Nebraska Cornhuskers head coach. He signed an 8-year contract. We did not get the monetary value, but something about Matt Rhule and his agent, they love those long-term deals, because with Baylor in 2019, he signed a 7-year deal. With the Panthers, he signed a 7-year deal. And here, lo and behold, he signed an 8-year deal with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. That's over 22 years of longevity he secured over those 3 contracts. Now, the buyouts were atrocious, but for David Tepper, this is the best news he probably could see, because with Matt Rhule going back to the college ranks this quick, the buyout from Nebraska owes him money. Nebraska, they have alumni, they have boosters and all that are going to willing to pay this, but it gets David Tepper out of jail free, because he still owed a massive amount of that contract to Matt Rhule. That $63 million contract that he signed, he still owed a good chunk of that, because Matt Rhule only made it 2.25 years. So with that off the books, David Tepper may feel a lot better that all that money is not in escrow for him that's due to Matt Rhule. So the best thing that could have happened for David Tepper pretty much happened. But Matt Rhule going to Nebraska, I think it's a good spot for him, man. It's lower expectations than the NFL. He gets back to where he wants to be. If he can master the transfer portal, put some things together, that side of the Big Ten is not super competitive. He has a chance to make some noise and be able to compete there. Will he be able to get over the top against Ohio State, Michigan? Who knows? But I don't know what type of the athletes Nebraska can get. Will he bring them back to pros? I don't know. But I think it's a good spot for Matt Rhule. I mean, I'm not going to be paying overly much of attention if stuff pops up. It happens, but it is what it is. But the way it affects the Carolina Panthers is Matt Rhule's building out that coaching staff. We've already heard that Phil Snow and Evan Cooper, of course, are going to be tagging along with him there. Phil Snow, they're 2 peas in a pie, guys. They're always going to be the joint together at a hip. We know Phil Snow was fired from his duties here with the Panthers for Al Holcomb. And, of course, there was some former Baylor Matt Rhule assistants, and Terrence Knighton, who was the assistant D-line coach, who is now gone, and also Corey Campbell, who was the assistant strength coach, who was leaving the Panthers to go to Nebraska as well. So poaching 2 staff members now, it's going to make the job a little bit, the same amount of work is still there. It just thins the amount of names. Steve Wilks has not really announced that he's going to hire any replacements, and he just pretty much chalked it up to being part of the game. I think he pretty much expected and saw this coming, because Matt Rhule is all about the nepotism. He's all about having a tight-knit group and looking out for who, this, that, and the third. And he's already going after Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator for the USC Gamecocks. And so Matt Rhule is bringing the old band back together to do what he always does. So I'm not surprised. But you guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about Matt Rhule finally getting a coaching job and taking that time. We know he went on that tour in the press doing all these interviews on Good Morning Football, and I guess it kind of helped him parlay into a job in Nebraska. So I want to know how you guys feel about him going to the college ranks. Are you wishing him the best? How do you feel about him taking assistance from the Panthers? How are you feeling about Matt Rhule, guys? I know you guys probably have some funny things to say. Let's chop it up down below in the comment. Nevertheless, you guys subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit the bell icon as well. Thumbs up, please, if you want to. But without further ado, I'm signing off. I'll see you next time. Peace.